You know, in 1962, Bob Dylan wrote these incredibly simple but absolutely chilling lines. Oxford Town, Oxford Town. Everybody's got their heads bowed down. And he wasn't talking about some fictional place. No, this was about Oxford, Mississippi, right in the middle of the violent riots over integrating its university. So today, we're going to break down how this deceptively minimalist song works as such a powerful piece of protest poetry, one that really dissects state-sponsored racism line by line. Right from the jump, Dylan isn't just telling a story. He's building a world. You feel this immediate, heavy atmosphere of just oppression and fear. Before we even meet a character, we can feel the weight of this town, a place where people can't even look up, and the sun itself feels like it's gone missing. It's such a powerful way to set this somber, anxious stage.
So let's start there. This first part of our analysis is all about how Dylan uses this dark imagery to paint a picture of a community that's just completely paralyzed by this unspoken collective dread. Think about those lyrics, heads bowed down, and then later, ain't a going down to Oxford Town. That suggests more than just sadness, right? It's a town-wide avoidance. It's like everyone knows something is deeply, fundamentally wrong, but the reaction is to look away, to stay home, to just pretend it isn't happening.
And from that feeling of dread, things escalate, and they escalate fast. The song moves from this vague sense of unease to explicit, organized violence. And it's absolutely crucial to see who Dylan says is responsible.
Dylan is so incredibly precise with his language here. He's not describing some chaotic riot or a random brawl between people. No, he points directly to institutional forces as the ones carrying out the violence. And that shifts the entire meaning of the conflict.
Okay, so the choice of words here is everything. Guns and clubs, those aren't the tools of an angry mob. Those are the tools of official authority, of the police, of the state. This implies the violence isn't just happening in Oxford Town, it's being carried out by the very powers that are supposed to govern it.
And the escalation just keeps going. A tear gas bomb? That's not a personal weapon. That's a very specific tool for crowd control, used by organized official forces. This little detail just removes any doubt and points the finger right back at the state, which, by the way, mirrors the real-life deployment of federal marshals in Oxford at the time. So after establishing who is committing the violence, Dylan makes the reason for it brutally clear. He states it plainly, and then he repeats it in another verse just to make sure you absolutely cannot miss it. The crime that brought on this organized assault, well, it wasn't an action. It was an identity. It was simply the color of a man's skin. Then, the narrative does this really interesting shift in perspective. It shows us the event not just through the victim's eyes, but through the eyes of this bewildered observer who's just caught in the middle of the whole thing. You've got these two experiences happening side by side. On one side, there's the targeted individual, James Meredith, who's facing this barrier for a specific hateful reason. And on the other, you have a family, the narrator, his partner, her son, who gets swept up in the violence without even understanding why it's happening. They're just collateral damage. And then, bam! With a single line, Dylan breaks the fourth wall. He turns you, the listener, from just a passive audience member into a direct witness. He's not just telling a story anymore, he's demanding that you take a position, forcing you to have an opinion on what you've just heard. So here's the crucial point. How does Dylan make this song so timelessly chilling with such incredibly simple language? I mean, it is just a masterclass in poetic efficiency. He uses all these literary devices so masterfully. You know, the language is stark and minimal, not a single wasted word. That chorus repeats like a funeral march, just hammering home the town's oppressive vibe. And like we've seen, he uses understatement and that direct address to deliver a message that is way more powerful and unsettling than some angry rant could ever be. This line right here is such a powerful example of that chilling understatement. I mean, after describing state-sanctioned violence that has led to death, the response isn't some big scream for justice. It's this calm, almost passive suggestion, somebody better investigate. That detached tone makes the injustice feel even more stark, more terrifying, and just completely unresolved. After all the analysis of motives and methods, the song strips everything away and brings us back to this stark, simple number, 2. 2 human lives lost. And this isn't just a poetic choice, it's a historical fact. A French journalist and a local repairman were killed during the riots. This one detail grounds the entire song in the tragic,
Irreversible human cost of the hatred and violence in Oxford Town. Oxford Town doesn't offer a resolution. It doesn't wrap things up nicely. It just leaves us with this haunting reality that protest art, well, it often serves not to close a chapter, but to carve it into our collective memory. It makes sure that even when investigations don't happen and justice isn't served, the story and the warning it carries is never, ever forgotten.